It's nice to see you, Griselda.
Nice to see you, Myla. I know. Happy International Women's Day.
I know. Pretty damn awesome. Will you let me know when you want me to welcome everyone? We'll wait a couple more seconds, for people to join.
Yeah.
Can I see who's listening or watching?
I'm not quite sure if you can see.
No, I've never used this platform before. It's pretty slick.
No, neither have I. It's a learning curve. So let me check if we are live. Are we live?
I think we are live.
Yeah.
And when we get to midday.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to start.
Awesome. Well, look. Hi, Griselda. Hi, everyone. It's midday on International Women's Day. And using Griselda's words, I'm beyond excited to be interviewing her about her new book, Unstoppable Women, on this day. Now, but before we start, I'm afraid, Griselda, I'm going to have to do a little shout out to your mum, to my mum and my daughter, Awesome Aura, and two powerhouse women that I am honored to work with every single day. So Karina Hunnason and Liza Osagi Klua, and the incredible women that I know. So that's my shout out. So thank you for letting me do that. Now, over to you, really. It's really, really exciting that you're launching this book. But before we get really, really stuck in, I'd like to hear a few words from you really about your journey. Because, to many people, you are many things, right? As in, you're a consultant, you're a mother, sister, wife, all of those. To me, I want to say you're my friend, an inspirational woman, and truly a diversity and inclusion champion. So over to you to share a few words about your journey.
Oh, Myla, thank you so much. You're a friend, and I like to think we've been hustling together ever since I met you. You're my ride or die. I know. And when I know you're one person that when I reach out to you, you will always step up and you always have my back. So thank you so much for doing this interview. For those who don't know me, I'm a mom of two. I live in the north of England, and I'm really, really passionate about diversity and inclusion, and particularly the contribution that we women have to make. So my whole career has been around that. Started off in engineering and in accounting, and now I run my business helping global organizations drive the inclusion agenda. I love training women. I like to remind women of the power they already have, because sometimes we just forget. And I like to remind women that we truly are unstoppable, and it doesn't matter where we are in society. We still have the power to move forward, not only change our own circumstances, but to be able to change the circumstances for other people as well. So that's me in a nutshell, really. And that's what I spend my day doing. That's what I wake up to do. That's what keeps me buzzing and fulfilled.
Well, look, I respect your being humble, but you haven't even touched upon the fact that you run the UK's biggest women's support organisation. I mean, how many members do you have now?
So we have 20,000 members, and it's not just UK now. We have a global focus. We have members across the US as well, and Africa. And one of the reasons why we decided to have a global focus is because women all over the world face the same challenge. So when I travel, and before the pandemic, when I travel, the stories are the same. It's just that the culture is different. The people saying the stories are different, but the lived experience of being a woman in Africa, in Europe, and in the US is literally the same. And we all face inequality and challenges on a daily basis. And so how do we overcome that? How do we step up to be the people we are supposed to be? How do we achieve our true potential in a world that is wrongly unequal? How do we do that? And that's what this book is about.
Great. And so is that your inspiration for the book? How have you gone from already having this stellar career, right? And then going, you know what, I want to do even more. I'm a busy mom. I've got my business. I've got my member organization. You know what, I'm going to spend time and put the effort in to create this fantastic book.
So the inspiration for the book came from Forward Ladies. Our members inspired me to write this book. So we have an awards program that we run every year, and each year we had a big judging day where all our finalists will come together. We meet a panel of judges, and we get to know these women quite intimately. So they tell us what's happening in their lives, the challenges they are facing, how they came about doing what they're doing. And I always get so inspired by hearing their stories. And I have always wanted a way to share the stories beyond our website and our newsletter and our awards program, because I feel there's so much value in seeing how people become who they are and seeing the journey they've been on. So the Forward Ladies community, they inspired me to write the book. And actually there's 26 of them in this book. This book is for them. This book is about them. And this book is to encourage anybody else who does not already see themselves as an unstoppable woman to realize just how normal the women who are unstoppable are, and that you can actually start from anywhere. So my inspiration comes from the many women I've met on the journey. They continue to inspire me. And of course, my mom. My mom was my best inspiration, and she was entirely unstoppable. She was denied education on the basis of her gender, cultural sexism and all that. But she overcame all those things, and I saw firsthand what's possible when a person decides that they are worthy and they can achieve anything they put their minds to. So my mom was my first inspiration, and every day the Forward Ladies continue to inspire me.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe you can expand a little bit on that title and the concept of an unstoppable woman. Unstoppable, yeah.
Yeah. So each day we wake up, we're faced with so many challenges. Whether you're a working mom, whether you're you're a stay-at-home mom, there's so many challenges. There's so much we need to do, and we women have gotten to the point where we just put other people first. We eat the bent toast. I think there's a book by that title as well. We are taught to please from a very young age, so we want to make everybody happy around us. So by doing that, we don't end up achieving the things that we actually want to achieve for ourselves. And yet you see women doing all these things. Their moms, their wives, their sisters, their aunties, their grandmas. But somewhere along the line, they decide that their goals, their dreams are worthy. And they find the time, they find the energy, they find the resources and the support to make that happen. And that is what I wanted to share. That despite all these chores and responsibilities and people we have to love and care for as women, even if we didn't have biological ones, we end up carrying other people's children and non-biological children, and all the responsibility in the workplace becomes ours because we choose to carry it on our shoulders. It's how we are nurtured. Despite that, we can still make time to achieve. We can still make time to grow businesses. We can be the leaders we aspire to have in the workplace. We can build technological platforms. We can create our own makeup brands. We can create our own products. We can create anything that we need as women. We don't need to wait for men to create these products for us. And we're certainly not waiting for the men to create these products for us. So the unstoppable women are doing it. And they're finding the resilience, the mindset, and the support to make that happen.
Absolutely. And is there an attaching mindset in particular that you think underpins and supports becoming or continuing to be an unstoppable woman?
So towards the very end of the book, there's a section called the Unstoppable Mindset, which lists 10 ways that you can develop that mindset. And it's really just a series of things that you need to prioritize, you need to do on a daily basis to give yourself that resilience that having that mindset gives you. So what does an unstoppable woman do? You need to prioritize yourself. You need to believe that you're worthy. You need to take back control if you're the kind of person that easily gives control to other people in your life. You need to make the space to invest in yourself. And you need to be able to delegate the things that hold you back. So in the book, I listed 10 ways that you can do that. You can develop the unstoppable mindset, because I think it's all about mindset.
It is.
If
It
you believe you
starts with, it certainly does,
go,
in
yeah.
my experience, right? But I feel, certainly speaking from experience, it's easier said than done. I think actually putting those mindsets into practice. I mean, you read it and you go, I must do that. But actually, it's much harder. I agree with you. As someone who's brought up by a single mom and who is a single mom, I tend to
Yeah.
put others first. And sometimes I have to go, no, hold on a minute. I can help others better if I help myself first and just slow down and think about it. So, I mean, I've only got a soft copy. I'm waiting for my physical copy. So I've had a sneak look at those mindsets. But mindset 2 in particular really resonated with me, which was when everyone else is seeing problems, the unstoppable woman sees opportunities. And it sounds to me, I mean, I don't know, we'll get to that. Well, I guess it segues into the next question, which is, what, from the point you had the idea, how long did it take for you to actually start and then finish? Was it the pandemic? Was it during this, what some would consider, a dark kind of a time, a challenging time?
There's a whole book about that. I could write a whole book about that.
Oh,
This book,
let's stick to this book for now.
I started this book before the pandemic.
Okay.
And after I started the book, I had this idea to write this book. I brought a team together because, I really believe in delegating. So I brought a team together to help this book come to life. And life just happened, from miscarriages to challenges to the pandemic to mom dying, and so many things conspired to really stop this book from being published. And so when the challenges came, I had to give them the space they deserve. So I always packed the project when it needed to be packed. But I knew I had to finish it because I have the mindset that when I start things, I have to finish it. So ultimately, I stuck to it. And so the process it's been a long process. It's been a labor of love. Obviously, it's an interview of 26 other women. So the whole coordination and editing of that has been a project. But I felt it was necessary to finish the book because there aren't enough stories out there about women. Certainly not women like me. This morning, I put a post on LinkedIn about the publishing industry and the fact that, works by women authors are not published as much as works by male authors. We tend to read books that are about men and their lives. We don't give as much visibility to works by women. So we need to publish our own works. We need to share our own stories because that's the only way we're going to change the narrative. And a book is just such a fantastic way of doing that. So even though the process, oh my God, is a painful one, and I have to be honest about that, but the output, if you had a baby, that pregnancy and the whole thing can be, oh my God, this is really difficult. But once you have this book in your hand, it completely changes everything. And it feels like it's been a process that's been worth it. So it's been a journey getting to this final product, but it's been worth it, and I'm excited to share the stories of the 26 women in the book.
No, amazing. So you've got 3 babies, actually.
I've got 3 babies.
Huh? The 3rd baby being born today.
Yes.
Just going back to how painful it was, or challenging. I'm not sure I'm keen on using the word painful, albeit it has a place. It must have been challenging on a number of levels, not least your schedule. Being a busy business owner, parent, partner, all of that. How did you fit it in?
Yes, so that comes
with me.
So it comes to the habit. It comes down to habit. So before I published this book, there was another project that took space, which was all about the planning and the achieving of goals. And it's my goal achiever planner. So it's that. I had to stop the book to finish it. Yes, of course, Myla, you have one. You have a copy.
I know, but I need to start using it.
Yes. So I'm a big believer in daily practices. What you do every single day matters. And I'm a big believer in routines and rhythms and habits. So every day I have a routine. I try and wake up before my kids wake up, and I get my writing done. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But the goal is that it has to be done at some point. So it may be that I stay up late to get the writing done. but every day I have to do something about my big goals. And so it's daily writing goals. So some days I was able to write 500 words. Some days I wasn't even able to hit that target because I had to do writing for other things. Now, I don't see myself as a writer because throughout my childhood I was told I'm an analytical child. So I have a math brain, not an English brain. So for a long time, I could not bring myself to write anything, let alone write anything that gets published in the public domain. I remember my very first blog post that I wrote, I could not publish it because I was so scared of someone actually reading it. And to think the journey I've been on from the person who couldn't publish a blog post to someone who's actually got my third book out, I had to really take it was a seismic shift of my mindset. So the writing, you have to write even when you don't feel like it, even when you hate what you're writing, even when it feels like you're a terrible author, because we all have these voices from our childhood in our heads. And mine may be about writing, Myla, yours may be about something else. It may be about public speaking. It may be about your worthiness as a woman. It may be about being a business owner. And we all have all these barriers, these voices in our heads, and it's being able to quiet that voice down. And I find mindfulness helps with that, again, as a daily practice, and then be able to move past the resistance that comes from that voice.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I certainly have my fair share of self-doubts. Public speaking isn't one of them because you can't shut me up, but plenty of others. You know this already. You've known me a long time.
Yes.
But going back to your daily practices, because I heard a conflation of things. I heard get it done. I was going to ask you, are you a 20-mile a day person? You know, that Jim Collins concept of whatever the conditions, whatever you're going through, I will write, or I will walk or march, or whatever it is that your task is at hand. I will do X amount every single day, no matter what. So I'm hearing there's a bit of that with your daily practice and things like that. But I'm also, am I right in thinking I detect some kindness and some flexibility in there as well? So, you have to appreciate it's taken with an appreciation of what else is happening, but still with this rigor. Is that right?
Yes, yes. I think the habits make the things happen. Habits make things happen. So there is some structure to the day, there's some structure to the week, there's some structure to the month. But I'm flexible enough not to let that structure now impact my mental health negatively. Because if you feel you have no control and you have no flexibility, then that goal in itself becomes one other thing that you're failing at. And that's not the point of goal setting. The point of goal setting is to give you something else to jump out of bed for. So, in as much as I have the goals and I have the structure, I really am aware of how I'm feeling and how I can take really great care of myself. So, one of the ways I do that, because I'm super busy, is to make sure that I get fresh air every day. So, I'm not a runner. Psychologically, I cannot call myself a runner because I just can't. But I can put on my shoes and step out of my house every single day. It doesn't take a change of clothes. It doesn't take a change of shoes. It just takes me pulling on a jacket and going for a walk. And once I leave the house, the resistance reduces and I keep walking and I pick up momentum and I go further than I even imagined. So the goals that I have are the big goals that we all have, but on every single day I focus on the habit. I don't focus on the goal.
Yeah, little baby steps.
Baby steps, small wins, makes you feel good, makes you keep going.
Little wins, I think, right?
Yes.
Griselda,
Yes.
I want to come and model you. My goodness, I tell you, honest.
Myla, you're already excellent. You don't need to be modeling me.
Listen, since the pandemic, honestly, I've been sitting here with my Ugg boots and track pants you can't see and you're not going to see, and actually not being as active. So, I am actually going to put that into practice straight after this interview. I'm going to go ahead and get some fresh air. And I mean that. I'm going to try and do that every day. So thank you for that. These amazing women. And I have to say, it must have been quite hard choosing because, I know Forward Ladies Network, you have incredible women. I've had the honor of interviewing a few of them actually for your awards. We did the National UK Women's Business Awards last year on Zoom, Sign of the Times. So you've got these fantastic 26 women. You've got, I don't know, Saha Shemi, you've got Nicola Elliott of Neon Organics, one of my favorite brands, Ronnie Savage, fantastic women. I've got to ask, what was their feedback when they read the book?
Oh my God. So when we pulled the book together, we sent each feature, every woman, an excerpt. So their section in the book, and they all came back amazed by their own stories, because sometimes you don't realize what you've achieved. So when they read that book, it's like, oh my God, some people said it made them cry, because we're just coming out of the pandemic. Things have changed for a lot of people. Businesses, we are in a completely different space. And just being able to look back at the responses they had given us 2 years ago really just made them feel that they had come so far, and it just gave them that strength they needed, a reminder of how far they've come. So that was really great feedback, because it's really difficult to tell people's stories. And they were also really keen to read the other stories in the book, because I've only shared their sections with them. So they've not seen the rest of the 25 stories that are included in the book. And the thing that I love about the stories is I've tried to focus not just on A to B, but on the highs and the lows, because we don't hear enough about the lows. So, for example, when you look at Sahaya Hashimi, and Sahaya is a good friend as well, she, for her lows, she wrote Selling Coffee Republic. Now, most people will call that a high because, wow, you built this brand and you sold it. But Sahar says that was one of her lowest moments, because she felt like she had sold the thing, her baby, that she spent so much time and effort building up. So sometimes the things that we see in the public space as wins and successes, they don't always translate to the individuals in the same way. So you asked a really great question about how I pick the women. I let them pick themselves. So I emailed our database of award winners and said, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Do you want to be featured in the book? And based on the responses I got, I featured them. So we don't have everybody in our community in it. It's just the people who chose to be included. And it's a diverse mix of people, and I'm really delighted about that.
Amazing. Now I want to get into the book. First up, though, who is the ideal reader? Who should be buying, reading, and implementing the strategies in the book?
So it's initially targeted at female entrepreneurs, aspiring female entrepreneurs, women looking to scale up their businesses, and women looking to exit. The book is being split into 3 sections. There's the startup phase, which focuses on that revving up, getting funding, and starting, just taking that leap. There's the scale up phase, which looks at scaling, the growth phase, which is very challenging. And a lot of people never make it in that section. And then there's the exit phase. So what happens when someone has actually sold their business? They are the angels, they are the dragons we see on TV, but do we know their stories? What challenges do they face? What are their highs and lows? So the book is being split into these sections, so you can find yourself at any point in any of these phases. So even if you weren't running your business and you wanted to be motivated and inspired, you could take the book. It's written such that you don't have to start from cover to cover. You can take a story and you can dip right in, and you can read the woman's entire story and feel you had learned something that day. So it's structured that way. It's super easy to read. And at the end of each section, there are the golden nuggets, the rules that have been garnered from the women in that section. So the startup phase has the golden nuggets for the startup phase, the scale ups, and then the exit. And these are the things they've told us. These are the themes that came out from the different interviews. And obviously, I'm a very practical person, so I cannot write a book without having a journal or some writing at the end of it. So at the very end of the book, I have asked our readers the same questions I asked the women. So to share their own stories, their own highs and their own lows, and what actions they're going to take after reading this book. So it's a very practical book. You don't have to read it in one sitting because we are all busy. You can read a story a day. You can read a story a week. You can just have it by your nightstand and come back to it, as I know I do with the book, a lot of the books that I read. When those days, there are the days when life is just challenging. It's just challenging, and you're wondering if you're the only one going through this. Take the book and read a story, because it will fill you up and it will nourish you, and you will know that you're not alone. There are people who have been through it and people who go through it, and you will also come out of this at the very end. And I'm a strong believer that people don't fail, we just give up. Whatever we're doing, we don't actually fail. There's just a point where you run dry. You're just like, I've just had enough.
Yeah.
In that case, take your break.
No,
don't give
I
up.
love that, because there seem to be some stories there that take you on this journey from adversity through to success. But I just want to go back to the fact that you don't need it cover to cover. I haven't had it long enough to be able to read it cover to cover. You only sent it to me like a day ago. And being the impatient soul that I am, I love the golden nuggets. I've kind of dipped in and looked at the golden nuggets, which is great. But I'm getting on a plane later today, and then I will make the time to read it cover to cover. But I'm just thinking, there are some funny stories in there. There are some shocking and surprising ones. If you had to pick something, what would it be? You want to share like a funny story, maybe?
Well, there are no. I think fun is relative, but I do love the story by Rebecca McCain. She's the founder of ProGlow, and she's the first story in the book. And the way she came about her business is really inspiring, and it's so funny. She loves to blow dry her hair. She loves to have it professionally done. And one day, as she was combing her hair, she says her brush broke, and she decided that the brush looked like something she could just curl in her hair and get a curl out of it. And she did that and realized that, oh my God, this actually works, and goes and gets a prototype done. And this prototype becomes this big seller, Curl Me, and it's in all the high street shops, and she's taking it globally. And just to think that happened off the back of a broken brush. How many times have we had our combs and brushes broken, and we just chucked it in the bin because we didn't feel there was anything else we could do with it? So I think that was funny, and I think that was really inspiring. And that was it's such an unusual way to come about your business idea.
That goes back to mindset number 2. Right? Broken hairbrush problem, turn it into an opportunity, which is fantastic. And I think, again, you're right. It's a mindset thing. How do we frame this? Gosh. And is there anything so what about you? You've shared these learnings of others. Did writing the book teach you anything, or did you learn something from the process about yourself? Did it challenge your perspectives?
Yes, it really challenged my perspective. I found it difficult to share. I'm one of those people. I'm out there on social media. I'm doing my thing because I believe it has to be done. But I'm also quite private, so I like to keep a huge part of my life private. But in the book, I did share how I started my first business. I've just told the story of the first blog post. I had £250 off a credit card, and that business is what brought me here today. It did not become the big household name that I thought I wanted it to be, but it fulfilled its purpose. So writing the book really helped me to reflect in the same way that I had challenged the women to reflect, and to really have an appreciation of how far I've come, and to remind myself that I do have the unstoppable mindset, because there have been so many barriers in the way. I told you about the miscarriage and having to move house, and mom died and all that, and still being able to launch this book this day, for me, it just reminds me that I do have that mindset, and I need to hold on to it, and I need to believe in myself more.
Oh no, absolutely. And honestly, you are an inspiration, Griselda, and I'm delighted we're friends, and I'm delighted we met at ITSU many, many years ago in Notting Hill, if you remember that. And much as your book is, and I've only skim read, but from what I've seen, it's powerful, it's human, it's inspiring and motivating. What I really love about it is it looks practical, and there are actual tips and strategies that we can actually implement. And I want to just go back quickly on the modeling thing. I don't know about you, but typically my idea of modeling someone is that you follow them around, almost shadowing them. Do you truly believe that we can model someone or model things by reading them? So by following those tips and strategies in your book, do you think they're equally as powerful?
Oh, yes. So in the book, I do write that, yes, it's good to hear these stories and to be inspired by them and to use some of their strategies. But at the end of the day, you have to create your own solution, because your DNA is different, your experiences are different, your temperament is different, and you're in a different context. So I can take a story and a strategy from Sahar that worked for her, and I just need to make sure I'm tweaking it to work for my circumstances.
Yeah.
So I find that I read a lot, like you can see the bookshelf behind me. That's why I'm so happy to be an author. And I read all these books and I don't go strictly by what I've learned in the book. I just take it, I take a nugget,
Yeah,
and I apply it to my life. And some nuggets are so relevant that I'm able to apply them immediately. And some nuggets, I go back to them and I reread them just to be able to take it and tailor it to my own situation. But yes, we can learn from people. We should learn from people, because otherwise we'll be making the same mistakes.
yeah,
Why do you make your own
absolutely.
mistakes? You can learn from somebody else's. And the women made a lot of mistakes. They lost money. How they got there was instances of believing that men in suits would come and help them and solve their problems. And they gave away businesses, share deals that were not, equitable. And there's so many things that they did wrong, but that did not stop them from becoming successful. So why don't you learn from their experience? And next time you're going into a deal, make sure you read it properly before you sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
There's so many instances of that in the book, and we can all be reminded of that, even if we already know it.
No, totally agree. I know we're just over time. Just a couple more things. So I just wanted to say I totally agree with you. I tell my daughter when she goes, "Oh, mama, school this, school that," and I'm like, you know what? Even when you leave school, every day is a school day. And I say to her, don't make the same mistakes I did. Learn from mine and make your own. And I think I say that even to friends, right? Do you feel the same regarding
Absolutely.
every day school day?
Absolutely. I feel the education that I received, and I've had a lot of education, the best thing I learned from being educated was learning how to learn, how to be an independent thinker, how to find my own solutions, go find the information I need. Because, oh my God, the skills I use every day, apart from English and math, I did not learn in a classroom. I had to learn through experience, through listening to other people's experiences, podcasts and books, and listening to other people. That's the only way I've been able to learn. And so, yes, absolutely. I tell my son exactly the same thing, but he wants to make his own mistakes because he thinks that I am ancient. And he thinks I'm ancient.
God almighty.
When he gets to my age, he will realize that he's not ancient. But anyway, that's what kids and parents are there for.
Well, my daughter doesn't think I'm cool. She actually said, "Were you ever cool, Mama?" I just went, "Listen,
Oh my God, you're the coolest mom I know, Myla. She's totally got that wrong."
Oh, you can tell her when you see her. But look, in respect of everyone's time, yours, I will ask one last question. How will you celebrate your book launch today and International Women's Day?
Definitely pop in a glass of some bubbly, a bottle of some bubbly. I'll definitely do that. I know this is really controversial to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I went for a run today to celebrate me, because sometimes all the things we do to celebrate us are things that people tell us to do: to buy a new bag, to buy a new shoe, to buy a new dress, to go to a spa. If that's your thing, that's great. But sometimes celebrating yourself is giving yourself space, is taking care of the body that helps you to get out of bed and to do what you do. Celebrating yourself is just being in a quiet place by yourself. And so, yes, I went for a run intentionally because it's International Women's Day, and strong women are unstoppable women. And so the rest of the day now, whatever I do is just going to be icing on the cake.
Oh, amazing. Well, look, apparently you're going to give away 10 signed copies. That better be 11 because I certainly want one.
Myla, you're already on my list.
Good. So
you don't have to ask for it.
Well, I'm just making sure. I definitely want one. So how do people listening get a copy of your book? How do they buy your book?
So if you want a copy of the book, which I'll be more than delighted to give to you, I think what we're looking for is to have a few people just share about the book on social media. If you buy a copy, that's great. Then you can have a side copy as well. But if you can just share on your social media platform and use the hashtag Unstoppable Women Book, we will go through the hashtag and pick a few people who would like to have copies of the book. But I can see Joanna and Catherine on the call. I mean, we can't see everybody, but I think we can see the people mostly from LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're on your journeys as well. This is to many, many more books. I want more people, and I encourage people, Myla, yourself included. We need your book. We need your stories on the bookshelves. Because unless we change the content that people are reading, we're not going to be able to change their minds. They need to be reading from us, from your perspective. And you are so talented. You do so many different things. No, I would buy your book, Myla. So I'm passing this over to you. When it's your book launch, I will do your interview.
Right. But this interview is about you. I appreciate the sentiment. Mine's going to be very goofy, just to be clear, because I'm a bit silly, as you know, actually very silly. But in the words of Stephanie J. Hale, who is the acclaimed author of Millionaire Woman, Millionaire Woman, Millionaire You, Unstoppable Woman is a must read for every woman starting, scaling, and thinking of exiting their business. So if that's you, I suggest buying it. I think you can buy it on Amazon. Is that right?
It's available on Amazon, shipped globally. Doesn't matter where you are. So you can get your copy. You can also get an electronic copy as well.
Okay, cool. I feel a bit cheesy ordinarily doing that, but I think this really is a must read, and I agree with Stephanie J. Hale, and I cannot wait to devour it when I'm on the plane to Sao Paulo. So once again, for asking me to interview you on this fantastic day, on the day of your book launch, in celebration of International Women's Day. And I do just want to say, this day is in honor of, dare I say it, us incredible women and all the incredible women we're blessed to know. So thank you for spending time to watch, to listen, and to share your book with us, Griselda. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Myla. It's been great spending the day with you. And all the best and safe travels on your
Thanks,
flight.
everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.